Your electricity bill arrives every month. You pay it. You always have. Every human being on this planet with a light bulb overhead pays it. But what if I told you that one man, over 125 years ago, sitting alone in a laboratory on a high desert plateau in Colorado, actually solved that problem? That he proved, with his own hands and his own recorded experiments, that electricity could travel through the Earth itself, wirelessly, freely, to every point on the planet simultaneously, and that the moment the most powerful banker in America found out, the money stopped, the project died, and the notebooks disappeared. Now AI has gone back into those notebooks, and what it found, sitting in those pages, hiding in plain sight for over a century, is the kind of thing that makes you put your phone down and stare at the ceiling. Stay with me until the end of this video, because I'm going to walk you through every piece of this, from the Colorado laboratory to the locked safe to the AI analysis to the one discovery modern science has now confirmed was real all along. And when we're done, I want you to drop a comment and tell me, do you think this was buried on purpose, or did the world simply not deserve what Tesla was offering? Let's go. May 1899. A man steps off a train in Colorado Springs, Colorado. He's 42 years old, already one of the most famous inventors on the planet. He gave the world alternating current. He made long-distance electricity possible. Without him, the modern power grid doesn't exist. His name is Nikola Tesla, and he's come to Colorado because he needs space. Space for something so large, so high voltage, so dangerous that no city laboratory can hold it. He needs a plateau 6,000 feet above sea level. He needs the open sky, and he needs the lightning. Because what Tesla is about to attempt has never been tried by anyone in human history. He's going to try to turn the Earth itself into a wire. He builds a wooden laboratory east of the city. At the center of it, he constructs a Tesla coil, unlike any that has ever existed. The main coil is 15 meters across, with a copper sphere rising on a mast above the roof. When this machine runs at full power, it throws lightning bolts 135 feet into the air. You can see them from 10 miles away. You can hear them from further than that. The whole town shakes. The air smells of ozone for a mile in every direction. It's the most powerful man-made electrical device ever built up to that point in history. Now, here's the part that makes the hair on your arm stand up. In 1952, a German physicist named Winfried Otto Schumann sat down with Maxwell's equations and mathematically predicted that the Earth and its ionosphere formed a giant electromagnetic cavity, and that this cavity would resonate at a specific frequency. He calculated it. He published it. And when his student Herbert Koenig measured it experimentally in 1954, the answer came back at 83 hertz. A steady, planet-wide electromagnetic pulse driven by lightning strikes bouncing between the Earth's surface and the upper atmosphere. Constant, measurable, real. It's now called the Schumann resonance, and it's accepted by every physicist and atmospheric scientist on Earth. The confirmed, measured, undisputed resonant frequency of our planet. And Nikola Tesla measured it first in 1899, in a wooden shed in Colorado with equipment he built himself, 53 years before Schumann's mathematics formally predicted it. The notebook entry is dated. The discovery is documented in his own hand. AI analysis of the Colorado notebooks has traced the direct line between Tesla's July 1899 measurements and what modern physics calls the Schumann resonance. And the connection isn't approximate, it's exact. Tesla was right. The Earth has a frequency. He found it first. But finding the frequency was only the beginning. Because once you know the resonant frequency of the Earth, you can do something with it. And Tesla moved immediately to do exactly that. He built a transmitter, tuned it to the resonant frequency of the planet, then placed a set of 200 carbon filament light bulbs 25 miles away from his laboratory, connected to nothing but a receiving coil in the ground. No wires, no local generator, no batteries, just a coil of copper tuned to the same frequency as his transmitter. Then he powered up his machine, and those lamps lit up. 200 lamps, 25 miles away, pulling power through the Earth itself. His assistant Fritz Lowenstein witnessed it and recorded it. Think about what that means. Not metaphorically, literally. In 1899, Nikola Tesla transmitted electrical power through the ground wirelessly to lights 25 miles away from a transmitter that burned no fuel, required no wire, and sent energy in all directions simultaneously. The experiment is documented in his notebook. His assistant confirmed it. And in its basic principles, the technology doesn't violate any law of physics scientists accept today. All right, what Tesla was demonstrating was real. And then he went back to New York and proposed to build it at global scale. He called it the World System, a network of transmitting stations each tuned to the Earth's resonant frequency, broadcasting electrical power across the entire planet. Every home, every factory, every ship at sea, every farm in any country would simply pull energy from the ground using a receiving coil. The cost of the receiver would be the only cost. The electricity itself would be free. Unlimited, clean, wireless, global. Free. Enter J. Pierpont Morgan, the most powerful banker in the United States, a man who controlled copper, was aligned with General Electric, and had invested in Marconi's wireless communications company. Morgan had already written Tesla a check for $150,000 to fund construction of the Wardenclyffe Tower on Long Island, the first transmitter in the planned world system. Then, in January 1904, Morgan sent a letter. The money was finished, the project was over, because there was no meter. The entire point was that there was no meter. The Earth carried the energy. Anyone with a coil in the ground could draw it. There was nothing to charge for. Morgan controlled the copper market. Copper wire is how you deliver metered, billable electricity. A world without wires is a world without copper wire infrastructure. A world where anyone can pull free power from the ground is a world where no one pays a monthly bill. Morgan didn't withdraw from a failed experiment. He withdrew from a successful one that threatened to make his entire business model obsolete. The project didn't die because the science was wrong. The science, as the Schumann resonance would confirm 53 years later, was right. The project died because it was right. And now come the notebooks. Tesla's Colorado Springs notebooks and his patent filings from 1900 to 1902 contain something researchers using AI analysis have been able to extract in a way fragmented human reading could not. When you feed the full text of the notebooks, cross-referenced with the full text of his 1901 radiant energy patent, his 1900 wireless transmission patent, and his published article on increasing human energy into modern pattern recognition systems, unified design emerges. Tesla wasn't describing isolated experiments. He was describing a complete integrated global energy system. Every component in the Colorado Notes connects to every other component. The standing wave measurements connect to the transmitter design. The transmitter design connects to the receiver specifications in the patents. The receiver specifications connect to the global network architecture he published in his 1900 article. It's a single, coherent blueprint spread across multiple documents that no single human reader fully assembled before AI mapped the connections. And what sits at the center of that blueprint, the load-bearing idea of the entire system according to the AI analysis, is the discovery that the Earth itself is a resonant electromagnetic cavity, precisely what the Schumann resonance confirmed in 1952. Tesla hadn't just guessed at this, he'd built his entire system on top of it. A system whose foundational physics has been proven correct by over 7 decades of atmospheric physics measurements. Now come the parts of the story that get darker, because Tesla didn't just stop at wireless power. The Colorado notebooks and subsequent documents reference something he called a teleforce device, a system for projecting concentrated energy through the atmosphere. By 1934, Tesla was giving press interviews claiming he'd invented a particle beam weapon he called his Peace Ray, a device he described as capable of bringing down aircraft from hundreds of miles away, melting tank engines, and making any nation that possessed it effectively invulnerable to invasion. He offered it to the U.S. War Department. He claimed the Soviet government offered him $25 million for it. He died before either government committed to building it. When Tesla died on January 7, 1943, in room 3027 of the New Yorker Hotel in New York City, the U.S. government didn't wait. Within hours, government agents from the Office of Alien Property arrived at his hotel room and seized approximately 20 trunks of research documents, notebooks, patent applications, and design drawings. The seizure was, according to legal scholars, technically illegal. Tesla had been a naturalized American citizen since 1891 and wasn't subject to the alien property laws being used to justify the action. But in the middle of World War II, no one was going to challenge it. The evaluation of Tesla's seized papers was assigned to a man named John G. Trump, a scientist at MIT, a microwave specialist, and the uncle of Donald Trump. Trump reviewed the documents and delivered an official conclusion that Tesla's papers contained nothing of significant scientific value and posed no threat if they fell into enemy hands. The death ray, Trump concluded, didn't contain enough detail to actually build a weapon. And yet, the FBI maintained its own active file on Tesla. FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover was personally interested in the case. Roosevelt's Vice President Henry Wallace discussed Tesla's wireless transmission research in his own private notes. Vannevar Bush, the man who ran the Manhattan Project, was involved in evaluating Tesla's papers. These aren't the responses of a government that's been told there's nothing of value in those trunks. These are the responses of a government that wants to control whatever is in them. One file group in the Tesla seizure has never been released to the public. It's labeled pre-1900 historical analysis. No declassification, no explanation. There's no official reason on record for why technical notes from the 19th century remain sealed in the 21st. Other documents from that era, documents about far more sensitive wartime projects, have been fully declassified. Tesla's pre-1900 Colorado notes remain locked. There are two ways to look at what AI analysis of Tesla's available notebooks has revealed. The first is purely scientific, and it's already astonishing enough on its own. A man working alone in 1899 with hand-built equipment discovered a fundamental property of the Earth's electromagnetic system that the scientific mainstream didn't formally confirm until 1952. He built an integrated global energy system design on top of that discovery. The design is coherent, documented, cross-referenced across multiple patents and publications, and its foundational physics has been confirmed by over 7 decades of Schumann resonance measurements. The science in those notebooks was real. The second way to look at it is harder to sit with. If the science was real, then what Morgan shut down in 1904 wasn't a failed experiment. It was a working system that would have made electricity freely available to every human being on Earth. No wires, no bills, no infrastructure controlled by a handful of wealthy men. The cost of entry would have been a copper coil in the ground. The energy would have been free for anyone who built one. The 20th century would have looked entirely different. The industries built on centralized, metered billed electricity wouldn't exist in the form they do today. The geopolitical power of nations sitting on fossil fuels would have been different from the moment the first Wardenclyffe transmitter went live. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's not a YouTube rumor. That's the logical extension of what the Colorado Springs notebooks document, confirmed against what modern atmospheric physics has established as fact, traced through the financial and corporate records of the men who stopped the project, examined now with AI tools capable of reading the full architecture of what Tesla was building in a way no previous individual researcher could. Tesla died, broke, alone, in a hotel room, where he hadn't paid the bill in years. The greatest electrical engineer in human history died owing rent. The notebooks he left behind gathered dust for decades. The ones the government took have never fully been returned. And every month, your electricity bill arrives.